run a wealth management group that focuses on executives and business owners. In addition to that, we connect growing businesses with resources to help them be successful. And so I've been doing that for 10 years and will continue to do that. And for the past 3 years, I've been the Director of Finance for Volunteering Untapped, which is a charity that focuses on expanding volunteerism. And essentially, we get volunteers out on the second Saturday of every month from 10 to 1 at different charities each time, and have a little bit of a party afterwards to celebrate the giving. The single most significant moment in my life was when I was in middle school. This occurred, somewhere in 7th or 8th grade, but I was not treated well and definitely bullied by people that I considered to be friends. And I was going through a tough time with my parents' divorce, and I was kind of at the epicenter of that. And there was just this one day that I had just gone through, a bullying scenario, and I kind of separated from that and was walking home by myself the rest of the way. And it was autumn, and I just the leaves were covering the path, and I was just getting so kind of frustrated and focused on those feelings, and then dealing with my parents. Everything just kind of started boiling up, and I just started crying uncontrollably. And at that moment, 6 feet ahead of me, a hawk flew over my shoulder and swooped down and picked the snake up that I was about to step on. And it completely took me out of the moment I was having, and it taught me two really important things. One is that somewhere out there, someone or something was looking out for me, and like I said, just kind of as low and as bad I was feeling, it took me right out of it. And so, that taught me a lot about how to deal with those types of emotions. And then two, it also taught me that when you are it's okay to feel down, and it's okay to be in the moment sometimes, but we kind of have to remind ourselves that life is going to continue to happen around us. And if we don't pick our heads up during those time periods or try to get back on track, then good or bad, we're going to miss something. One of the most exciting things I've ever done was running with the bulls. It was exhilarating, and it was scary, and it was completely unlike anything that I thought it was going to be. 2 or 3 things I've always wanted to do. One is go to outer space. I'm an outer space nerd, and I love the idea of just going somewhere completely new and experiencing something that I've only read about and or seen in movies. And the second is to have a cigar with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it could be a Padron anniversary series. I think that's what he's smoking these days. I'm surely fine with that. But Arnold, I've grown up with Arnold, and he was, I remember as a child asking my dad if that guy got shot, he probably wouldn't die, and if he would, and bullets would bounce off him. And when I got older, I watched the documentary Pumping Iron and whatnot, and he's always been such a motivational person. And in addition to that, he called his entire life. In that movie, when he was talking about what he wants to do after weightlifting, he said, I want to get into movies, and then I want to get into politics. And both of those for what wasn't even really considered a sport at the time. It was just an interesting documentary for him to go through that and accomplish all these things. I admire it, and he's absolutely an entertaining person. I think we'd have a lot to talk about. Shifting the purpose of business in a couple ways. On the for-profit side, we're shifting the purpose of business by focusing on a segment of the population that I have seen to be completely misunderstood and wildly underserved, and that's the business owner or executive that's under 40 years old. Technology has created the platform for this segment and younger people to create very, very, very successful businesses. And these people want to work with somebody who sees the world through the lens that they see. These people, they don't look at the investment landscape like somebody who is significantly older. They want to communicate differently. They have skepticism or look at fees differently. They don't look at the market the same way that everyone else does. And In addition to that, they have a lot of different challenges that they're facing that others are not. Whether it's the longevity of their business or the longevity of their life in general, there's a lot of different challenges. In addition to how technology impacts their life, et cetera. So that's absolutely one way. Another way we're shifting the purpose of business is by putting a client's business in front of the stock market. So when we look at somebody and we're working with somebody, we are not trying to, and I think that we're doing a huge disservice if anybody is essentially a vacuum cleaner trying to suck somebody's dollars into the stock market and collect fees, and that's not the way things should work. A business owner's best return on investment is going to be their business all the time. So we look at ways to make that a little bit more efficient or scale that or improve that in other ways. And then once they're ready to diversify or grow wealth outside of that, we will look at multiple ways of making that happen. And again, the stock market is one tool, and it can be an important tool, but it's just one tool out of many that can be used to accomplish someone's goals and do it the right way. We're shifting the purpose of business or charity work by focusing through Volunteering Untapped. We are focusing on the volunteer rather than necessarily the mission of the charity. And it sounds a little bit backwards, and it almost sounds not, it doesn't sound PC, but what our belief is, and we've shown this to be true by the amount of volunteers we've had and the feedback that we've got from the charities that we work with, is that if we are able to create an experience for a volunteer where they're spending their time the entire time making an impact with the charity that they're working with, they understand the mission of the charity, which we have explained beforehand, and so connect the work that they're doing with the eventual result, and they're able to meet people that are like them, then you're going to get a better volunteer, and you're going to get better volunteers and time well spent. And the impact is going to be significantly greater. And we've been doing this for 3 years now, and we seem to have galvanized a segment of the population in a way that others haven't been able to, and it's very fortunate for us, and we think that that's one of the reasons that's happening. My greatest hope for the world is that humanity stops playing the short game and starts playing the long game. I think that the long game, or excuse me, the short game is fraught with it divides us, and it's just fraught with selfishness. We start thinking about ourselves a little bit more and ignore, I think, which are the larger problems that humanity is going to be facing, which are the ones that we can't see right now that are not in front of us. It involves the planet, it involves technology, and we work better and we have better outcomes when we work together. And right now that's not happening.